Fame has a way of freezing time. It captures a smile, a moment, a face the world falls in love with and holds it there forever, even as the person behind it quietly fades away. For millions of families in the late 1960s, that smile belonged to a little girl named Anissa Jones, the bright-eyed child who played Buffy Davis on Family Affair. With her golden pigtails, her gentle voice, and her cherished doll, Mrs. Beasley, she became America's symbol of innocence. But what no one saw was how quickly that innocence would shatter, and how a life so full of promise would end before it ever truly began. When Family Affair premiered on CBS in 1966, television was hungry for warmth. The country was divided, the news was filled with loss, and people longed for a story that reminded them of simple love. The show gave them exactly that, a wealthy bachelor suddenly raising his orphaned niece and nephew in New York City. And at the center of it all was little Buffy. Viewers saw her smile and believed she was safe, adored and happy. But behind the scenes, even as the cameras rolled and the applause thundered, the young actress playing her was already learning that Hollywood love is never unconditional. Anissa Jones was born on March 11, 1958, in Lafayette, Indiana. She was just a child when her parents' dreams began to pull her westward toward California, the land of lights, cameras, and opportunity. She was bright, curious, and full of energy, the kind of child who could light up a room without trying. But like so many who come to Los Angeles chasing possibility, her family soon discovered that fame doesn't wait for stability. Her mother, Mary Paula, believed in her daughter's potential from the start. She entered her in local auditions and talent calls, convinced that Anissa had the kind of spark that couldn't be taught. Before long, she was appearing in television commercials, her blonde curls and shy charm selling cereal and dolls to the same children who would soon adore her on primetime television. By 8 years old, she landed the role that would define her entire existence: Buffy Davis. The name alone made people smile. She was the heart of Family Affair, the little girl who softened even the coldest adult hearts. Week after week, she looked out from behind those wide eyes and delivered the kind of sweetness that felt real, because it was. Even as a child, Anissa didn't act innocence. She was innocence. But what no one told her was that television doesn't just take your image, it takes your childhood. As the series became a cultural phenomenon, the spotlight grew heavier. Fan mail poured in by the thousands. Strangers asked for autographs, photos, and hugs. On screen, Buffy had a perfect family. Off screen, Anissa's own home was unraveling. Her parents' marriage had begun to crumble under the pressure of money, distance, and jealousy. Custody battles turned her life into a tug-of-war, leaving her emotionally stranded between two worlds, adored by millions of viewers, yet unsure if anyone truly saw her. By 1971, Family Affair ended after 5 successful seasons. The set that had once been her second home went dark, and with it her sense of purpose. She was only 13, too old to play the little girl everyone remembered, too young to reinvent herself. Casting directors looked at her and still saw Buffy. Hollywood had trapped her inside her own childhood, and she had no idea how to escape. The offers stopped coming, scripts dried up, interviews faded. The same producers who once called her a prodigy stopped returning her calls. For a girl who had grown up surrounded by cameras, the silence was suffocating. At school, she tried to blend in, but the whispers followed her down every hallway. Kids who once envied her now mocked her. Teachers treated her differently, unsure whether to pity or admire her. Anissa smiled through it all, but inside, she was unraveling. How do you return to being ordinary when the world has already made you extraordinary? By the time she turned 16, she wanted nothing more than to disappear. Her parents' divorce had finalized, leaving deep scars. She moved between households, neither feeling like home. Without the structure of work or school to ground her, she began surrounding herself with older friends, the kind who promised escape, not healing. Parties became her new stage, and late nights replaced early call times. When she turned 18, the world should have been open to her. Instead, it closed in tighter. That year, she gained full control of her Family Affair earnings, a sum rumored to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. For most 18-year-olds, it would have been freedom. For Anissa, it was temptation. Within months, the money began to vanish, spent on friends, on clothes, on the illusion of adulthood. Some nights she would look at old photos of herself, the little girl holding Mrs. Beasley, the one everyone had loved, and whisper that she didn't recognize that face anymore. Hollywood had moved on. No one was calling, and the girl America once wanted to protect was now completely alone. By 1976, rumors about her were appearing in small entertainment columns. What happened to Anissa Jones? Journalists asked, pretending to care. Some claimed she'd retired. Others said she was living an ordinary life, away from fame. The truth was far darker. The spotlight that had once made her glow had burned her out. That summer, Anissa began spending more time near the beaches of Southern California, a place where no one called her Buffy, where the ocean drowned out the noise of memory. She attended parties, smiled for friends, and pretended that she was fine, but inside the emptiness had become unbearable. On August 28, 1976, just months after her 18th birthday, the illusion shattered. Anissa Jones was found dead in a home in Oceanside, California. The coroner's report was blunt and cold. Combined drug intoxication. She was only 18. The news hit Hollywood like a thunderclap. Fans couldn't believe it. How could the little girl with the doll, the one who taught a generation about kindness, be gone? Her former co-stars were devastated. Johnny Whitaker, who had played her on-screen twin brother Jody, said quietly that he hadn't seen her in years. "We were great friends," he told reporters, "but the business has a way of separating you." His words carried the weight of every child actor who had lost their way once the cameras stopped rolling. The scandal deepened when authorities arrested her doctor, Don Moschos, accusing him of prescribing powerful, unnecessary drugs that had contributed to her death. But before he could stand trial, he died himself, a grim ending that left more questions than answers. Was Anissa a victim of negligence, of exploitation, or simply of a system that never cared what happened to children once their lights went out? Her story didn't end there. 2 years later, her brother Paul, who had been one of the few people who truly understood her pain, began spiraling into addiction as well. By 1984, he too was gone. Another overdose, another casualty of a family forever shadowed by fame. Even Family Affair itself seemed cursed. Brian Keith, who had played the lovable Uncle Bill, struggled with depression for years and died by suicide in Johnny Whitaker battled his own addiction before finding redemption as a drug counselor, dedicating his life to helping others survive what his friends could not. Every time he spoke about Anissa, his voice softened. "She was just a kid," he said once. "We all were. But no one ever told us how to stop being characters and start being people again." As decades passed, Anissa's name became a tragic footnote in Hollywood history, another cautionary tale of how fame feeds on the young. Yet her image never disappeared. Reruns of Family Affair continued to air across generations, her laughter echoing through living rooms that never knew the pain behind it. If you watch closely, you can almost see it, the flicker of sadness behind those bright blue eyes, the longing of a child who wanted to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one, not even herself. Her story is more than a headline. It's the story of every child who has been told to smile through exhaustion, to pretend through pain, to give the world a piece of themselves, until nothing is left. In Hollywood, innocence is currency, and when it runs out, the world moves on. But Anissa's short, shining life reminds us what that cost truly looks like. She wasn't just Buffy Davis. She was a little girl who never got the chance to grow up, trapped forever in the image that made everyone else happy. The tragedy of Anissa Jones isn't only that she died young, it's that she never got to live freely. And perhaps that's the cruelest truth of all, that the little girl who gave America hope became the warning it refused to hear. Even now, decades later, her smile still flickers on screens. Somewhere out there, an old episode plays, and another child falls in love with Buffy Davis, never knowing how the story ends. Because in the end, fame didn't just make Anissa Jones a star, it turned her into a ghost that Hollywood still can't forget. She didn't just act innocence, she carried it until the world took it from her. What part of her story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you thought this story was heartbreaking, wait until you see what really happened to another beloved child star whose fame came at an even higher price.